that CNN News 18 has accessed, and this is in connection with the Israel-Hamas war. You remember, the United Nations has been discussing, deliberating what the future is going to look like, especially for all the civilians that are caught in the crossfire. Now we have learned from our sources that India has voted in favor of a UN resolution that condemns Israeli settlements in Palestine. Top government source reveals that this is not new as far as the government stand is concerned, and we are actually getting details of why India decided to vote that way. We are given to understand that there has been absolutely no change as far as India's traditional stance is concerned. We're also ensuring safety of Indians in the Gulf nations, in the entire region of West Asia, which is why this decision, diplomatic one at that, was taken by the Indian side. Abhishek, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Abhishek, what more can you share with us as far as information that you've gathered via your sources within the Indian government on why exactly India decided to vote the way it did?
Well, India's standard position on the Israel-Palestine conflict has always been a two-state solution, and Israel's withdrawal from the occupied territory or the settlement colonies that it has built over the years. So, the voting that has happened at the United Nations General Assembly, where India has been reportedly not voted in favor of Israel, kind of reflects India's long-standing political view on the Israel and Palestine conflict. And earlier we have seen on a UN resolution that was brought in by Jordan, where the ceasefire was talked about and the humanitarian aid and crisis in Gaza was talked about. But the condemnation for terrorism act that had happened on 7th of October in Israel was not mentioned. India had not voted in on that resolution, saying that unless and until the act of terrorism is condemned, there cannot be an entire understanding of the situation that is happening in Israel and Gaza conflict. So that has been India's long-standing view that the terrorism action or the terrorist act of any individual, any organization should be condemned. At the same time, the rights of Palestinian people should also be acknowledged and understood by the Israeli side. And two-state solution could be the only way forward for a lasting peace in the region.
It's also, as far as India's economic interests in the region are concerned, the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor is also something that was discussed, that was finalized during the September G20 session. That is also something that could be in jeopardy, and that definitely would be on the minds of people here in power corridors in Delhi, isn't it?
Well, that corridor will be beneficial for India as well as Israel, and then entire stretch through which it will be passing through, that will also include several other, Arab countries and European countries that will be benefited. Of course, it will have investment coming in from USA, Europe, India, Israel as well. So that plan or that economic impact will be shared by all of the countries. At the same time, this political, stand on the Israel-Palestine conflict is something that India has always been, very straight about the fact. And though it has developed a lot of strategic ties and defense cooperation with Israel in the past, also in the recent past, in fact, there have been billions of dollars of strategic interest that has been, bought by Israelis, by the Indian government and Indian army's various wings. But that does not have anything to do with India's political position in United Nations, where it comes to Israel and Palestinian conflict. And the latest voting by India in a way underlines the fact that despite all the shared interest and strategic interest that India has in that region, the only lasting peace it sees with Israel-Palestine conflict, that would be a two-state solution and withdrawal of Israeli colonial or Israeli settlement colonies from the Palestinian land.
Right, so it's not really a departure from India's traditional stand, as many within the opposition like to point it out this